What's up everyone, Time Suppression here, and let's talk about the adventure riding course that I did about 2 weeks ago. So for those of you that aren't aware, I purchased a 2022 DRZ400S about a month and a half ago now, and I'm in love with the thing. One of the things I wanted to do was take an adventure riding course so I can get more familiar with the bike, more comfortable with handling it, and on and off-road situations, and just all around familiarize myself with the ins and outs of this beautiful machine that I bought. So the course I took was at Penmerryl Farm in Greenville, Virginia, and it was run by Zacker Adventures and Bob's BMW. I gotta say, the course was absolutely fantastic. The only downside was the weather. So it's about a 2.5 hour ride to Penmerryl Farm from where I live, and it was raining. Most of the ride there was rain. Once I got there though, it cleared up and it was still overcast, but it was beautiful. Riding down the driveway into the farm there, it just kind of like opens up and you've got nice big open fields there. You know, you ride through, you get into where the lodge is, and they got a beautiful pool. They got an indoor horse arena. It's super duper nice. But my favorite thing of that place, I have to say, is the view of the mountains there. I actually set my tent up in a spot where I could wake up in the morning, crawl out of it, and just look at the mountains. And I didn't get to see that at all Saturday or Sunday morning because it was all fog. But it's okay. It was still nice nevertheless. The weather that weekend was pretty much rain and wet, and honestly, I'm kind of glad it was. I'm always a fan of doing things the more challenging way, just so you can get the experience of it. So that first night there, we rode our bikes into the indoor horse arena. We got everything set up. It was cool to see everyone's bike on the same place. A lot of BMWs, for obvious reasons. Thanks, Bob's. I kind of felt a little bit like the odd one out with a DRZ, but you know, this thing has its advantages, especially when it's wet and muddy. I mean, just look at those knobbies. Those things get you through almost anything. And I learned that, and it was pretty great. The next day, we got up, we had breakfast, and we started on basic skills and techniques. So some of those skills that we went over is, you know, right from the very beginning, proper clutch control, which is super duper important off-road. From there, we went on to just walking the bike around, kind of making sure we had it balanced nicely, the bike was moving itself, we weren't holding it up, anything like that. One of the next things we jumped into was starting and stopping and putting alternating legs down on the ground. When you're off-road, you're not gonna know all the time that you can definitely put your left foot down or definitely put your right foot down like you do on the road. So being able to do it from both sides is super duper important, and you know, can be a struggle with a really tall bike like this. After we got through some of the basic stuff, we did some riding around. So there was a mode track that we did some riding around just to kind of get familiar with, you know, turning and standing up while riding and just kind of being comfortable. That led into doing 360 turns. Now, I'm sure some of you may have seen videos of this, you may have even done it yourself. Doing a full 360 turn in a tight space on a motorcycle can seem very, very challenging at first. It can seem even more challenging when you're trying to do it in wet grass too, and well, it kind of is depending on your tires. The cool thing about that, and I did this, a lot of these similar things a year ago when I took one of the MSF dirt courses, is it makes you a lot more confident in cornering on-road as well as off-road. When you're doing that 360, you know, you're leaning the bike over. At first, it feels so weird to have the bike, you know, under you while you're leaning off the opposite side. But once you get used to it, it's super duper easy. One of the other things we did was a failed hill climb, and unfortunately, I forgot to hit record for this. But it was very interesting to actually experience that, and totally worth it. So we basically, you know, we had a nice steep hill. Rode up it, let the clutch out, let the bike stall, and just stopped. And it's one of those things where in the moment you're like, oh shit. But it is honestly way more intimidating to watch than it is to do. It's not that bad. I did drop my bike on the way down because, well, this thing is freaking tall, but It's okay. I'm super glad that I did it, and it was worth the experience. So the last day, we took all of those skills that we learned and put them to the test on a proper adventure ride. And that ride was super duper fun. We did a very healthy mix of on-road and off-road riding. Some of the dirt Forest Servicers we were on were just absolutely stunning. It definitely made me realize that this is the exact reason I wanted to get into adventure riding, because it was so much fun and it was just stunning. Now, this bike being as tall as it is and me being as short as I am, I'm about 5'9", it's a little challenging to ride. And you know, once I get it going, I'm fine. But like getting onto the bike, especially in uneven terrain, was super duper tough for me and still is tough for me. And because of that, I dropped this thing a lot. I honestly lost track of how many times I dropped it, but it felt like every 10 minutes I was dropping it as I was trying to like get on the bike. You know, it got to the point where every time I just started laughing, and it was hysterical to me. So one of the things that they do with this course is give an award at the end. The award is to the most dropped bike, and well, I won that one. Honestly, I think it's hysterical because I dropped the bike so many times just trying to get on it. But yeah, if you're in the Virginia area, definitely check out Zacker Adventures. There's a link to his Facebook page in the description here. And the really cool thing about that is a lot of people that did this event also weren't even from Virginia. We had people from Michigan, we had people from North Carolina, we had people from Maryland, West Virginia, just all over the place. So it was super duper cool to ride with all these people and get to know them and just kind of hear some of the awesome stories that everyone has. Huge shout out to Penmerryl Farm. Blair and Laura, you guys are absolutely fantastic and awesome, and I love what you're doing. I'm gonna be back. And finally, big thank you to Bob's BMW for this super duper awesome trophy. I love it. It's on a shelf behind my desk. It's in all of my Zoom calls. That way everyone can see it. And I think it's great. But that's it for now, everyone. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to give me a thumbs up. And also, if you want to get notifications for when I release my next video, hit that bell down below. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side.